What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch unboxing. Today we are doing a familiar brand for the channel, Zelos. I took out the outer box just to save some time, and we'll get right into it. Typical outer box, typical inner box, which is the cigar wood box inside. Again, we have the very typical watch roll. This is the Mako version 3 2.0. So I say 2.0 because they made some upgrades to the version 3 Mako, and that's what this is. So the typical watch roll that you get with each Zelos, 4 slots. Of course, you get an extra strap with this one. So it does get a buckle. So it is a signed Zelos buckle in stainless steel. And then the warranty card, which is the typical metal warranty card from Zelos. And here it is. This is the version 3 Mako version 3 with a black Whirlpool dial. I say version 3 2.0 because they've changed the dials a little bit, and they have also upgraded the bracelet and the case back. So the case back has the same case back essentially as the previous version 3 Mako. However, this has a little bit better finishing on it. Also, the bracelet itself is different. The clasp mainly is different. So you can see it's just a single fold over. There is no extra keeper on there, fold over keeper on the other side, and it does get a micro adjust. So the micro adjust is on the fly, and we'll come back to that in a little bit, but that's a nice upgrade, especially considering the price point, which is $429. There is no pre-price on this, no pre-special offer pricing that Zelos usually do. I think the price is just $429, and that's the price for the watch. Now this gets all the familiar specs for the Mako: 40 millimeters, 46 millimeter lug to lug, 12 millimeters thick. It's 11.5 millimeters thick, but plus that domed sapphire crystal, which has AR coating. You have 300 meters water resistance, applied indices, tons of lume on everything, on the bezel, on those indices, on the hands, and also the crown. So lots of lume. Really nicely finished watch in general. Really good finishing. Brushed ceramic bezel, which I said is lumed, and you have like a gold sort of gilt indices and hands, so it's a gold tone, and a very nice warm colored lume. They sort of used patinaed lume, so it looks really good on everything essentially. So it all is a very nice matching color, and these watches wear really, really nicely. I had a Mako version 3 in Meteorite. I actually did not end up keeping that watch because of the bezel, and I was really excited when this watch came out because they came out with a black dial. This gets a really beautiful Whirlpool dial, so it has a Whirlpool texture. So the color of the dial is also gradient sort of. It's blacker on the outside than it is on the inside of the dial, and the inside of the dial in certain light comes across as sort of gray and sort of black, so it looks really good. Actually a very rich looking dial, and actually makes this watch look more expensive than it is. So a lot of people picked up the Swordfish 40. I'm actually wearing my Swordfish 40 today because the dimensions on these watches are extremely similar. 40 millimeters on the Swordfish, 46 millimeters lug to lug, exactly the same. 12 millimeters thick. This gets a flat sapphire crystal, so it's 12 millimeters thick, just exactly almost the same thickness as the Mako. The biggest differences on these two watches are obviously the base dial. This is the black dial. They're both the black dials. The dial is far nicer on the Mako, in my opinion. Those applied indices look really good. Just a little bit nicer on this Mako. I also like the bezel action on this Mako a little bit nicer. Of course, you get the lume crown and the upgrades that were done to the bracelet. So let's listen to the bezel action really quickly, and then we'll look at that bracelet. I really like the bezel on both of the watches. I have to say that the Mako is a little, the slightest bit more solid, and you would not be able to know that unless you had both of the watches in your hands and you were doing a bezel test side by side. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the difference. Also there is a difference around the chapter ring. So this is a little bit deeper of a black dial, where you do have that white chapter ring, which is also lumed, which is nice on the Swordfish. Now the bracelets, like I said, I think the bracelet's a little bit nicer on the Mako. Again, a little thin on, I really like it though, on the Swordfish. Just a different style bracelet, so it's really up to the person who's buying it if you like that or not. I really like both of them. You get screwed links on both of them. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. And then of course you have a 3 o'clock crown versus a 4 o'clock crown on the Mako. Really, again, it's just up to whoever is buying it. The clasps are very similar and different at the same time. A very traditional clasp on the Swordfish. The finishing is a little bit nicer on the Swordfish, I will say, because the Mako, this is a little bit rough, a little bit more like sandpaper on that Zelos, where it is not on the Swordfish. So it's a little bit nicer on the Swordfish, actually, if I have to say. But that's where it ends there, I think, because I actually like that this is just a single fold over with the double push button. It works really nicely, and then you do have that micro adjust. It's really easy to adjust this on the fly. It's a little bit rough, but I think after a while it will get a little bit looser. It's a little bit hard to actually pull this down and then move it and ratchet it along, but it does work and it's easy to move on the fly. So if you do want to size this for your wrist, and speaking of which, I'll throw it on my wrist. I don't have it sized for my wrist yet, but you can see it wears really nicely on my 7.5-inch wrist. And I'll do a lume shot. $429, not the cheapest Zelos that has come out in recent history. The Swordfish was actually pretty cheap compared. This was $349, I believe, or might have been even cheaper on the pre-order. And you can see it does wear slightly larger because of the way that bezel is actually sort of flush with the case. It's squared off, whereas the bezel on the Mako is sloped. So it doesn't appear as large on the wrist, but they wear very, very similarly. I mean, if this wears like a 40 millimeter, this wears like a 40.5 millimeter watch. It's really very, very close. These were a great bargain, just a really great deal. I don't know if Elshon will come out with another deal like this. This was a really, really good deal. But this is just sort of an upgraded version of this Swordfish. If you are into the Swordfish, you will really like this watch. I think it's a very, very nice watch, and I'm very excited to get this in for review, and I'm really happy. I think I might actually buy this one. There are still available on their website. These have not sold out immediately like the Swordfish did. And I want to add this to my collection. I really love that dial. It looks really good. It's very rich. I'll do some close-ups, obviously, of it. Very, very rich dial. And I like that it has micro adjust, because when you're wearing a watch on a bracelet, you know, it's nice to be able to adjust it on the fly. And the other thing it does come with is an extra strap. This did not. The Swordfish did not come with an extra strap, so that's something to consider as well. This is a really nice strap. It does come with a buckle, so there is definitely a value assigned to that beyond what, you know, did not come with the Swordfish. So really, there is a good amount of difference between these two watches, even though they're very similarly sized. There is one other major difference that I didn't mention yet, besides things like the dome sapphire crystal and the applied indices and the nicer bracelet. You do get a 9015 Miyota in the Mako version 3. So this Swordfish gets an NH35. So if you care about those sort of things, movements, the 9015 is a nicer movement than the NH35. However, like I said, you can't see them. You have solid case backs on both of these. So it's really entirely up to you which one you like better. Pretty much the same width, so they were able to get the exact same width on these watches. Aesthetically, I think that the Mako is a little bit nicer, but it's not by miles, and it is more expensive, but it is a nicer watch, just all around, almost in every aspect, except for that little roughness on the clasp. What drew me to this watch immediately, and obviously I'm a fan of Zelos. I constantly are on their Facebook group, as I mentioned. But it's the quick release. This is one of the few watches that are from a micro brand that you can get a quick release. Even though it's a little bit rough, that is really something that is excellent on hot days when you're walking around, if you're going hiking, you're going fishing, if it's cold out, if it's hot out, the temperature changes, you go indoors, outdoors, whatever it might be. It's really easy to adjust that on the fly. Keep it on the middle position, adjust the bracelet to your size, and then just adjust it very easily, just like that. And it's just fantastic. I think that's a very, very good idea, especially for a micro brand. And like Zelos do, they'll constantly refine. This is not bad. It could do a little bit of refinement in the finishing, obviously, but I think that they'll work that out and it will eventually be really something special. These watches are really nice, and a lot of people that I'm friends with who aren't into watches are taking notice of these watches when I wear them, and that says a lot about a brand that is so young. Anyway, I'll do a quick Lume shot and then we will wrap up the video. So as you can see, really, really bright Lume on here, and actually the Swordfish is just as bright as the Mako. Actually, the Mako is a little bit brighter on the bezel because all of the minute markers are actually lumed as well, and then you have that Lume crown. It's a little bit of an extra bonus, but the chapter ring is lumed on the Swordfish, so the dial is a little bit brighter, maybe. So the chapter ring is actually lumed on the Mako as well, but it's not fully lumed as is the Swordfish. Either way, the Lume looks great on both of them. Obviously, Lume, a very strong point for Zelos, and you guys can see that these are literally torches in the dark when they are fully lumed like this. Anyway, tell me what you guys think of these watches, especially the Mako, which is new to the channel. I'd like to hear what you guys think. I'm going to be wearing the Mako over the next few weeks, and I will definitely report back and tell you guys what I think. So hopefully you guys were able to pick up one of these if you were interested in one. I am very lucky to have both here, so I'm very excited about that. Anyway, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. Please also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it doesn't have to be the items I actually link to, but it helps support the channel. Doesn't cost you anything extra or interrupt your Prime benefits, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on, and I will catch you guys in the next video.